ACLU, take two, because if you think it's only the ACLU suing over these privacy invasions, think again. But one suit certainly stands out as much for its oddity as its backstory of just emotional cruelty. A couple suing for $3 billion for being singled out, they say, for speaking out, criticizing the government after their Navy SEAL son was killed in Afghanistan. Their attorney, Larry Klayman, here with us now. Larry, now this happened, or their son was killed technically during the Bush administration, right?
That's correct.
All right, so why?
No, excuse me, it did not occur during the Bush administration. It occurred on August 6th of 2011, Neil, but...
Okay, I had to... So why then did they spoke out against the Obama administration and its conduct of the Afghan war, or drawing down in Afghanistan? And there are a lot of other things going on. But they felt by criticizing that, then the administration had singled them out? Explain.
Well, what happened is this, is that Vice President Biden had revealed the name that SEAL Team 6 was responsible for the death of Osama bin Laden. That was, ironically, a breach of national security, of classified information. The Taliban saw that, and in a subsequent mission that was being flown by SEAL Team 6 members, 22 of them were shot down in a helicopter in Afghanistan on August 6, 2011. And that was partially the result of the military's own policies that were put into effect by President Obama and his administration, which don't allow the military to engage in preemptive fire and other preemptive measures. They have to wait until they're fired upon by some of these Muslim extremists before they can fire back. So this family, the Strange family, a very fine family who lost their son Michael, have been critical of President Obama and the military for not allowing our servicemen to protect themselves. And that's where this whole thing originates from.
But then they argue that the pile-on, right? I mean, but for speaking out, it got worse. Explain.
Well, what happened is that Charlie Strange, who's the dad, was making calls on his cell phone. He uses Verizon.
Right.
And these strange numbers are showing up on the screen, digits of 1 and 2. So he calls the military to find out what's going on, and it turns out that these are numbers that are originating overseas. He's making domestic calls. So he came to the conclusion, which is a logical conclusion, that someone's messing with him. They wanted him to know that they were tapping his phone to coerce him into not speaking further about this scandal. And this is a corollary, Neil, of the Benghazi scandal. Because how did the ambassador get killed over in Benghazi? Because he wasn't allowed, the embassy was not allowed to take protective measures for security and to defend themselves. This scandal with the SEALs is very similar. So consequently, it's all wrapped up into one big bundle. The Obama administration is extremely sensitive and defensive about it, and our clients have reason to believe that their phones were tapped. In any event, they're part of this whole 120 million or so customers, including yours truly. I use Verizon, who are subject to this illegal search and seizure.
But this is a little different, because at issue we're told, and the NSA was telling folks, calm down, we only got their records, we're not tapping them, we're not spying on them. In this particular case, they were, or that is the charge. Now, the NSA will come back, I don't know if they've officially have, to say this is largely just a record trove, we're not listening on anyone. If you can prove this, and that this was in fact going on, there could and probably would be a pattern of this behavior that goes beyond just these parents, right?
Well, and that's in fact what we're going to prove in our lawsuit. And we've got now an individual who came forward, Edward Snowden, who knows what was going on. We've never had that in any of these prior incidents.
Well, all he knows, or all he said thus far, is that 115+ million Americans' phone records were collected as Verizon customers. You say that he likely knows more than that, and that it involved just more than keeping records. Well,
and other people know that, and we're going to have the opportunity to take discovery in this case, and it can be taken in a way that doesn't breach national security. So we're going to get to the bottom of it.
You know, Larry, do you find it interesting that the administration apparently did not have a problem with leaks that made it look good, for tracking down and killing Osama bin Laden, for example, but a very big problem with leaks that made it look not so good?
Well, that's the hypocrisy in Washington, Neil. You know what it is. And the fact that the NSA says something, or these internet companies say something that are obviously collaborating with the government, does not make it true. And of course, we've had a number of leaks with the Obama administration, dealing not just with the Navy SEALs who killed Osama bin Laden, but the Stuxnet virus, the cyber warfare, the kill list, and just recently, last week, the Arrow missile defense system in Israel, because the administration is trying to compromise Israel to keep it from doing a preemptive strike on Iran. They're not held accountable. People died as a result of what Biden did when he released the name of SEAL Team 6. They can walk off scot-free. The powerful people get to walk. But the little guys like Snowden, they're going to get burned. They'll be burned at the stake. And that's the problem, is that the establishment in Washington protects itself. And we've seen congressmen and senators come forward defending what the NSA did. The reason they're defending it is because they're the ones that came up with this concept. They're defending themselves.
Well, this is a very fascinating legal case, and what you've got here changes the dynamics of this away from just a bunch of records on some bureaucrat's desk to going much further than that. Larry Klayman, thank you.
And the other thing...
Go ahead, finish that point.
You're welcome, Neil. Well, the point is that we have the potential, we have 2 class action lawsuits, of having the majority of American citizens part of these lawsuits. This is an opportunity for Americans to wage a legal revolution, to take their country back, because our government has broken away from the needs and concerns of the people. It's not unlike what we saw in 1776, regrettably.
Man, oh man, that was before lawyers like you. Larry Klayman, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Neil.
Wow.